got posted on an aircraft at Kirawina, and we were told that we were going to escort a group of British naval ships going to the Philippines. And the chief naval officer, the chief in charge of all the ships, he was one of the first persons going. He was only about this high, but he's a terrific fellow, you know. Anyway, while we were doing this anti-submarine do up between New Guinea and an island, I just can't think of it at the moment, the sea was like a mirror too. And we were in a Beaufort actually, and I used to do every second day on a Beaufort with this fellow, this pilot. And anyway, the fellow that was supposed to take our place didn't turn up. His engine had broken down or something, and we just kept going, of course. And anyway, he turned up eventually, and we turned around. Huey Roberts, the chap the pilot was, and he turned around to go back to our drone. And we're going back to the side. I used to sit in the seat. Huey was up there, and I was down there on a seat, you know. And anyway, we're going along the side of the battleship, the main. There was only one battleship. I forget. Well, it might have been a Howe. I'm not sure. But one of the biggest. Was the biggest, I think, at the time. And we're going along the side of the ship, and all of a sudden a lot of flashes turn up along the side, and I thought, oh, they're having a bit of a shot. And I looked down the sea to see if I could see where the shells were landing, and all of a sudden, black blobs beside the battleship, boom, 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 boom. Every one of them coming closer to us. And I told you, he couldn't see because he was sitting there and the battleship was down there. And I said, hit the sea, quick, get out of the sea. Well, he just put it down, and down we went. And anyway, they were going to hit us. The ship would have hit us if the shells had bursting would have kept coming. Anyhow, we got back to the drome okay, and that night, 2 nights after, all the main officers on the battleship turned up to stay with us for the night. There was a chief engineer, there was a chief gunnery officer, there was chief everything, including the big bloke, the big man, you know. He was only a little fellow, but a terrific fellow. And I went up to him and I said to him, I said, we just had an experience, sir. I said, we did an anti-submarine patrol, and your ship shot at us. I said, I said, were they fair dinkum? And he said, look, son, he said, go over and see that fellow over there. He's the chief gunnery officer. And I went over and I told him, I said, I was in an aeroplane when you actually shot at us. He said, yeah. He said, I said, were you fair dinkum? He said, son, when we shoot, we're fair dinkum. I said, thanks very much. They decided to, they'd heard actually there was a commando officer with about 6 commandos used to roam about the jungle, trying to find anything that the Japanese had built or put up, see. Anyway, they found this 3 built wharf plus 3 huts built out of coconut logs. Quite a good job it was, but they decided, our people decided to go up and knock it about. Well, so they picked out six aircraft. I was one of them. Loaded them up with everything they could lay it up with. And the chief of northeastern area, he said, how about me? I want to go. So he jumped on the bandwagon and he came with us. And he said, now, what we've got to do, we've got to bomb this place and 700 rounds of ammunition, get rid of that. And he said, now, when we get about 50 miles from the place we've got to bomb, you'll see it. You'll be able to see it on a big river. And he said, what you got to do is drop your belly tanks and then fly on and go into action on the hut, three huts and the wharf. Well, I was very apprehensive about it because I knew that nothing was going to do any good. It was all wet. You could tell by the colour of it. It was just wet tanks, wet wharf, wet huts, three. And so anyway, I said, well, I'm not going to get in the road of all these fellas, and I couldn't drop my belly tank. It wouldn't, I didn't try too hard. I don't mind telling you either. Anyway, I said, looks as though I'm on my own. So I'll fly up, get over the top, and circle around, do a few circuits around it, and when our blokes are finished, I'll go in and do my bit. So anyway, that's what happened, and I was looking at the scene, and they were firing, hitting the hut everywhere, but doing no damage. So I said, well, I haven't come 200 miles to not do something about it. So I said, I'll wait till they get out the road, and they got out the road, they took off and went back, left me on my own. And anyway, I had a go at one hut in one place actually, and no sign of any fires or any explosions or anything, except that when I did leave to go over to the coast where I intended to land if I had to, on the beach, I had a look around. I said, right, where I go, and I went and I concentrated on one spot on a corner of a hut. I thought, well, if I set enough fire in there, it might blow up, or it might catch on fire. Well, I took off. I had 50 miles to go to the beach, and they've all gone. The other people were gone, and no communication by wireless. See, we couldn't talk to one another. And anyway, I took off 50 odd miles to the beach because as I said before, we used to do a patrol up that way, 50 miles out to sea and 50 back. And anyway, I thought, well, I've got to live. I've got to do what I think's the best thing to do. So I didn't worry about trying to get up in the air anymore. I just kept the plane as quiet as I could, and I knew what was happening. The three tanks in the fuselage, the fuel was draining down into the belly tank, and I was using it from there. So I went over to the Cape Walsh, which was where we used to do the patrol. And then I got to the beach. I said, thank God I'm here, because I've got something to land on. I've got a beach. And with water too, I could have landed in the water. It would have been all right. But anyway, I flew right. I had 200 miles to go at that stage. And I turned around onto the beach, and I started the 200 miles. And everything went all right. I flew across a river with great big crocodiles in it, and on the beach beside the river. And I thought, well, God, I've got to get across this too. And nothing happened. I flew across it. The old motor kept going, and finished up, flew straight down the strip at Merauke. And as I said, came back and parked the aircraft, and the CO came over and said, what happened to you? You know, so I told him. He said, God, he said, you could have been killed. We went up looking for a Jap, and we couldn't find him. He'd gone, couldn't find him. And four of us were up about, as high as a kitty hawk could go. I'm not sure exactly how high it was. I think it was well over 20,000 feet. And we're in formation, and Harry, I forget his other name, he decided we got a message that the Japs had disappeared. So Harry had decided we'd drop a bit of height and come down. And then we're just going down, gaining speed, and all of a sudden he does a leap, goes like this. Well, I don't know why, but I was on top of the lift, and my aeroplane stalled upside down. And anyway, I couldn't get the thing to come around the right way. I went through all the rules and regulations. It just didn't make any difference. Anyway, I was looking at the speed. I got to 12,000 feet. I said, well, looks as though I'll have to jump out. So I pulled the canopy back, and the old aeroplane just went round up the right way. Nobody could tell me why. With the four of us, we've all got the same speed. We've all got the same trim. You know, I should have just gone round the circle with them. No.